Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. In today's video, I'm taking you to the Great League, where we've got an extremely spicy duo battling against some of the best there are at what would be leaderboard elo. This duo is Hydreigon and Galarian Slowking. Now these battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Jocko Loco, so many thanks for the battle submission. Now Hydreigon this season did get access to Fly, but this trainer is opting for Brutal Swing and Dragon Pulse. And the Galarian Slowking proves to be an interesting core pairing, as Slowking can deal with the fighters and the Wigglytuffs that Hydreigon doesn't want to see. So without further ado, let's hop onto the matches, and the team is off to an amazing start in game number 1, leading Hydreigon into Shadow Dusknoir. The fact that the Dusknoir is not switching out is incredibly good, because even though Astonish hits incredibly hard, due to that dark subtyping, Hydreigon is absorbing this damage very comfortably. Shadow Punch bait comes out from the opponent, they save switch into a Talonflame, and that is definitely not what you want to do. Hydreigon is about to absolutely eviscerate this Talonflame. Dragon Pulse gets shielded, Talonflame over farms, and that's already Dragon Pulse number 2. This might just KO, and it does! Down goes Talonflame. In comes Wigglytuff, and Wigglytuff will swiftly be dealt with by Galarian Slowking. Galarian Slowking, these acids are absolutely adding up. Wigglytuff goes for the Swift and sends in Dusknoir. But bad news for the Dusknoir is it's getting immediately KO'd by Psyshock. Back in comes the Wigglytuff. Look at the acid damage go, and we're getting a Shadow Ball BM game number 1. You've got to be kidding me. The Zero Bubble Shadow Ball BM into sending out the Spidops. This is absolutely diabolical from Jocko Loco. Swift is going to connect. Another Swift coming out from the Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff still desperately trying to win the game, but there's just no hope. Spidops gets the Rock Tomb. I was half expecting Spidops to go for a Zero Bubble. Spidops does undercharge, and that is a wild Game 1 win. Awful lead in the next match. Hydreigon into Shadow Annihilate. The save switch into Spidops. Spidops now going to be answered with a Furret, and this game could not have much of a worse start to it. Furret absolutely destroys Spidops. Spidops, it really relies on getting Shadow Claw damage over time and winning a war of attrition. But against the normal type, it cannot get any meaningful fast move pressure, whereas the Sucker Punches do add up even despite the Lunge debuffs. Lunge is going to connect onto the Furret, and Furret will look to fire off another Swift. Due to the double debuff, this will not take the knockout, but Spidops is now very low. Spidops going to overfarm, actually making it to the Lunge, so the energy head start on Spidops actually paying some dividends here. The Lunge gets the shield, and getting a shield advantage out of what is normally a truly atrocious matchup, honestly, is basically the best case scenario. Hydreigon going to be no shielding, as these are heavily debuffed Swifts. Hydreigon, if it can lead pretty close to a Brutal Swing, that would be really nice, as Brutal Swing will do big damage onto the Annihilate. Aggressive pivot into the Slowking. Slowking now getting up an acid as in comes Annihilate. Annihilate gonna look to boost up as it fires off the Rage Fist. Slowking has to shield everything. Slowking gonna look to farm up very close to the back-to-back Psyshocks. Psyshock will be devastating. Annihilate past the shield. They no shield. Down goes Annihilate. It's Wigglytuff in the back. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Great lead in the next match. Hydreigon into Shadow Typhlosion. Opponent safe switches out of that matchup and sends in Goodra. Ooh, very nice catch. Able to bank energy on Hydreigon and then catch the Aqua Tail onto Spidops. Spidops farming up, trying to get to the Lunge, but Goodra's pacing is absolutely relentless. Every 9 turns, the Aqua Tail outpace, and just like that, Goodra is able to get the Spidops very low. Spidops gonna fire off the Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb is gonna land. Goodra barely hangs on. With the debuff, this Aqua Tail should miss the knockout, but Spidops is gonna exit very, very low. Opponent will get an energy head start on Typhlosion. This will be a test. How well are they counting? And their counting is perfect as they no-shield the Lunge. Back in comes Hydreigon, answered with Azumarill, gonna bank a ton of energy, and in comes Galarian Slowking. The acids will add up. That's Azumarill's biggest problem. Azumarill lands the Ice Beam, but Galarian Slowking is about to absolutely pop off. Galarian Slowking throwing 7 in the move, perfect charge attack timing. He doesn't have that regional champion shirt for nothing, folks. The charge move timing is exquisite. And look at Azumarill. Azumarill is already below half HP. Ice Beam does get the shield. In comes Typhlosion. Typhlosion instantly answered with the Psyshock. Psyshock shielded up by Typhlosion. There's the switch and the catch of the Thunder Punch onto Hydreigon. Hydreigon does take some pretty significant damage. Hydreigon throwing 3 Dragon Breaths and the move to ensure that the Incinerate damage will not register. That will take the knockout. Back in comes Azumarill. Hydreigon, all the energy in the world. Unfortunately, it's all going to be resisted, but there's still a Slowking with a shield, so this game is over. Brutal Swing into the double resisted Dragon Pulse. This should be burning the switch clock. Dragon Pulse lands. In comes Slowking, 1 acid, and the Psyshock thought about going for the 0 bubble again. Barely hit the bubbles at the last second, but still able to secure the win. Nice lead in the next match. Hydreigon into Shadow Drifblim. Drifblim staying in this matchup, trainer. You do not want to stay in this matchup. Hydreigon lightning fast, already almost at back-to-back Brutal Swings. Brutal Swing forces the shield as Drifblim instantly undertaps the Icy Wind. Shield comes out from Hydreigon. Hydreigon again can look to just massively overfarm. Opponent tries for a catch, and they send in Furret. Furret is going to be hit with a -1 Dragon Pulse. This will do substantial damage onto the Furret, and now in comes Galarian Slowking. Unfortunately, Furret is very strong into this backline. Slowking going to be able to no-shield a Swift, but pays a pretty heavy price. Slowking winning charge attack priority over the Furret, though. That is very nice. Psyshock takes the knockout, and the opponent sends in Blaziken. If Blaziken gets a big farm down, this could get very scary, but they're going to have to respect the Psyshock. Psyshock will be shielded. Blaziken looking for a farm down. They do get the farm down, and this is where things get a little bit tricky. In comes Hydreigon. Oh, never mind. Hydreigon had a Brutal Swing. I didn't realize Hydreigon had that energy. The Brutal Swing lands, sniped down with the Dragon Breath. All that energy down the drain. I thought that was going to be a tricky endgame because the Dragon Pulse was thrown, but Hydreigon was just that loaded on energy. Oh my goodness. Tricky lead in the next match. Hydreigon into Marowak. This is the non-Shadow Marowak, which is a bit of a surprise. Opponent ends up save switching into a Azumarill hoping for a catch, but Hydreigon gets to bank all the energy it could ever ask for and then send in Galarian Slowking. Ice Beam lands onto the Slowking. Slowking just looking to farm up and land as many Psyshocks as it possibly can. Psyshock number 1 into the Azumarill is going to be no-shielded. That does get the Azumarill pretty low. Azumarill does make the Ice Beam. Ice Beam would not take the knockout here, but it will be getting the Slowking very low. Slowking farming up to the back-to-back Psyshocks. Oh my goodness. Slowking surprisingly has a very competent moveset. Slowking exits with the Psyshock loaded as well. Opponent sends out Credilli, and Credilli is going to take some pretty sizable chip damage. In comes Hydreigon, no baits here. Hydreigon gonna full send the Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse at the Credilli is gonna land. That's devastating damage. Hydreigon, can it get the farm down? Yes, it can. And Hydreigon is just running away with this game. The shield comes out from Hydreigon. Marowak goes for the Bone Club. The bait. Oh my goodness, the opponent, I mean, they have to shield. They've already gotten nuked by a Dragon Pulse. They put up the shield. Hydreigon going for yet another bait. And this is just an absolute dismantling of a meta team. They call the bait, but it's just too little, too late. Another Brutal Swing from Hydreigon. Hydreigon just absolutely eviscerating this man. In comes Spidops. Spidops is going to no-shield. Rock Slide lands. Spidops does not care. Spidops Shadow Claws down the Marowak. And that's a good game. We move to the next match. Hydreigon into Primeape. Oh my goodness, this is a terrible lead. Primeape going to be answered with a Spidops safe switch. Primeape farms up a ton of energy. Oh, that is not good. And sends in Licky Licky. This is looking like a very tricky game to win. The lunge lands. Obviously, applying early debuffs is very beneficial for Spidops, but this is another matchup where Spidops has no fast move pressure. Lunge lands. Big damage. So Licky Licky, already pretty close to 2/3 of its health bar, is gone. Licky Licky goes for the Shadow Ball. It looks like another Shadow Ball will miss the knockout. Going for the Rock Tomb. Is Rock Tomb going to be enough here? Spidops really has to hope. Rock Tomb lands. Licky Licky pivots out, saves the energy, and brings back in Primeape. This is going to be very tough. Rage Fist lands. In comes the Slowking. But Slowking is just so far behind the Primeape. Unfortunately, due to the one-turn swap, that is not a charge attack priority tie. Slowking no shields. Rage Fist damage is devastating. Slowking not wanting to CMP tie, just going to go for the extra acid. The shield comes up from Slowking. Slowking farming up, throwing the Psyshock right before they get another Rage Fist. But this Primeape is definitely running away with this game. Primeape is going to no shield. In comes Furret as their final Pokemon. Furret gonna take some pretty sizable damage from the Psyshock. The shield comes up, and it's all up to Hydreigon. Hydreigon, it's not going to appreciate Swift. It's going to have to no shield here, but this is definitely going to hurt. No, they're on Brick Break. Oh no, that is devastating for Hydreigon. Brick Break, big damage, and now this ramps up the Sucker Punch damage as well. The Brutal Swing bait, Hydreigon gets the Dragon Pulse. The opponent, could this be the lose con? Will Dragon Pulse KO? It does. Down goes Furret, and Hydreigon is just on a rampage. Oh my goodness. I know Hydreigon, it's not a Pokemon for climbing. It's a Pokemon for fun. But in the hands of Jocko Loco, he's making this Pokemon look extremely strong. We get up a terrible lead in the next match. Hydreigon into the destroyer of fun, Bastiodon. Brutal Swing lands, and oh my goodness, that damage is just absolutely horrendous. Brutal Swing from Hydreigon hits so hard neutrally against so many Mons, but that is Bastiodon. It's just non-stop bulk. All it does is just absorb hit after hit. Another Brutal Swing lands, opponent safe switches into Annihilate. Annihilate will be answered with the Galarian Slowking. Slowking trying to get the Psyshock, but unfortunately did not switch fast enough, so the Rage Fist is reached first on the CMP tie. Rage Fist, oh, that did some pretty severe damage. Undercharge on the Psyshock, but the opponent will actually put up the shield. Oh, they're looking for an incredibly unfortunate counter down. Slowking knows if it shields, the Annihilate can shield back and just farm. So this is really tough. In comes Spidops. Spidops gonna look for a full farm down. Opponent banks energy, sends in the Bastiodon, and there's just no way to win this game. Even if they have like a 10 combat power Pidgey in the back, unfortunately, Bastiodon plus Annihilate, there was just nowhere for Hydreigon to go. Brutal Swing is going to be shielded. Bastiodon, can it get the farm down? Yes, it does. The Brutal Swing is not reached. And unfortunately, this is just too much for Spidops to deal with. Spidops shields up the Stone Edge. Spidops, these Shadow Claws adding up, going for the Lunge, but Lunge just does nothing to Bastiodon. Lunge is going to land. Bastiodon does not care, and the Annihilate still has a Charge Attack loaded in the back. Opponent reveals their final Mon is Ludicolo, and unfortunately, this game is just over, as Ludicolo tanks the Lunge, and there's the snipe with Annihilate. Annihilate's Rage Fist takes the knockout, and unfortunately that game will end in defeat. We move to the next match. Ooh, another tricky lead for Hydreigon, leading into Shadow Celio. Celio going to be answered with a safe switch from the Spidops. Spidops immediately under pressure, as Surf will inflict some massive neutral damage. Spidops no shield, Surf lands, opponent tries for a Rock Tomb catch onto Marowak, but they fail, and now Marowak is going to be bombarded by lunges. Lunge number 1 is going to land, Marowak able to hang on, but there's more where that came from. Spidops follows it up with a second lunge. Lunge lands, Marowak now deep in the red HP. Marowak makes a last second charge attack. The shield comes up. Spidops is looking to make a play for alignment. Spidops able to get the farm down at the expense of a shield. In comes Celio. Celio unable to get the farm down. The Rock Tomb is reached. Rock Tomb into the Celio will get the shield. Celio gets the farm down, but now Celio is debuffed. So when Slowking hits the field, suddenly this matchup doesn't feel quite as scary. Celio loses charge attack priority as Slowking fires off the Psyshock. Psyshock lands, just missing the knockout. Celio will return fire with the Surf. Surf lands, aggressive switch Hydreigon, answered with a Dusknoir, and switch advantage was the entire game. Oh my goodness, that is incredible. Brutal Swing into Dusknoir, gets the shield. Hydreigon wins charge attack priority, and that's going to be good night, Dusknoir. Dusknoir gets KO'd. All that's left is Celio. Celio gets farmed down, and that's a good game. Hydreigon into Shadow Marowak in the next match. I imagine Marowak just fully farms this down in the 2s. Hydreigon has incredibly quick pacing, but it has basically no bulk to speak of. Shield comes up on the Bone Club. Opponent safe switches into Dugong. Dugong gonna be answered with Galarian Slowking. Unfortunately, Slowking will get absolutely rocked by Drill Run here. Drill Run will hit for a super effective. Opponent is gonna be full sending. Slowking farming up to the back-to-back Psyshocks. Even though Drill Run did hit for a ton of damage, if there's a bright side, it's the fact that the opponent did not end up going for an Icy Wind. That means Slowking is still able to output his normal amount of damage. Shadow Ball lands, that's gonna be getting Dugong very low, and now in comes Spidops to be a damage sponge. Spidops no shields as the opponent instantly undertaps. Icy Wind is going to land. They pivot out. In the back is Galarian Moltres. And I don't think Galarian Moltres is going to like what comes next. Hydreigon full sending Dragon Pulse. That connects, big damage onto the Moltres, and that is a nasty CMP tie. Brutal Swing is going to take the knockout. Opponent realized they were in substantial trouble. They try for a farm down with Marowak. They don't get it. The pacing on Hydreigon. Brutal Swing forces the shield. And now it's the Spidops show. Spidops just looking to overfarm here, trying to get a bunch of residual energy because the Dugong is absolutely loaded in the back. Spidops gonna fire off the lunge, and this should be game over. Lunge is going to land. Down goes Marowak. In comes Dugong. Dugong not getting to its charge attack as Marowak makes the Rock Tomb. Even a Lunge would have KO'd, but Rock Tomb guarantees the knockout, and that's a good game. Hopping into the final match, leading Hydreigon into Marowak one final time, but once again, it is the non-Shadow. Opponent safe switches into a Thunderfang Steelix, and unfortunately, there's not a clear answer to this Pokemon. Steelix is farming up a ton of energy. They could be trying to farm to an Earthquake. A catch onto Spidops would be devastating. They don't have enough energy for an Earthquake here, so that's an easy no-shield as they only go for the Crunch. Hydreigon already had 2 more Brutal Swings. Again, the pacing of this Pokemon is just absolutely absurd. Brutal Swing lands. Opponent makes a last-second Psychic Fangs, but this is double resisted. It will not take the knockout. Hydreigon, can it get the farm down? Yes, it can. Back in comes the Marowak to get smacked by a Dragon Pulse or concede a shield. Dragon Pulse lands, that's big damage, and now it's Spidops time. Spidops hits the field. Marowak can threaten some pretty substantial damage with a Rock Slide, so the shield comes up, and they do not go for a bait. In the back, oh no, it's Bastiodon, and this is the worst case scenario. Spidops gonna go for a Lunge just to slow the roll of Bastiodon, and in comes Slowking. If there's any hope of damaging this Pokemon, it's all up to Slowking. Opponent throws on Alignment, which does give a free Acid over to the Slowking, but this is still going to be a very difficult game to win. Slowking not going to bait, going to be full sending the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball is going to be shielded up by the Bastiodon. Bastiodon has correctly identified that this is the only Pokemon that can realistically deal it any kind of damage. Shadow Ball is going to be double shielded. Bastiodon continuing to farm. There's a catch attempt as they bring in the Marowak. Marowak's catch attempt is unsuccessful. Spidops forced to fire off the Lunge as Marowak could have made a Rock Slide. Lunge will take the knockout. If there's a silver lining, it's the Shadow Ball loaded in the back, and the fact that Spidops can try and do chip damage to hopefully put it into Shadow Ball range. Spidops going to go for the Rock Tomb. Any damage is good damage at this point in the game. The Slowking in the back is very low, but it does have a charge attack loaded. Spidops, oh, this is going to be tough. Spidops going to get knocked out here by the Stone Edge. Stone Edge takes the KO. Back in comes the Slowking. Slowking farms up as much as humanly possible. Slowking going for the Shadow Ball. Is this going to be enough damage? Shadow Ball is going to land. Can Slowking get to another Shadow Ball? The answer is yes. Slowking, oh my goodness, taking down Bastiodon. And that is a good game. Oh my goodness, these battles were an absolute roller coaster. Many thanks to Jocko Loco for sending in this footage. This is the interlude season at its peak. One of the best battlers in this game, just absolutely dismantling meta teams left and right with the incredibly spicy duo of Galarian, Slowking, and Hydreigon. Now, is this a team for climbing? I definitely would say it is not. This is more of a team for fun. But when you're as good at the game as Jocko Loco is, sometimes a team that's meant for fun can also result in quite a few wins as well. Hydreigon is a Pokemon. I actually ran the Shadow version in, I believe it was the Catch Cup, to get to my season high elo last season of 3,300. And it was kind of a hodgepodge team that I put together, but it ended up being quite a bit of fun because of its incredibly fast pacing, its huge damage, and its ability to win a lot of cap ties. So it's very cool to see someone else put Hydreigon to very good use, and man, Slowking has sneakily gotten a really good moveset over the past few months. They've done a lot of updates to Slowking over time, and suddenly Slowking just has like a really good moveset now out of nowhere. Acid, Psyshock, and Shadow Ball, that's a really competent moveset, and it definitely feels like this is a Pokemon that people might be sleeping on, at least in an anti-meta capacity. Now granted, it's still a Galarian Slowking, it's not meta by any means, but it honestly put in a lot of work in quite a few of these battles. Its typing is an interesting one, but arguably it has an unbelievably good moveset. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And an extra special thank you as always to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.